The Accident, written by Jack Thorne under his Blame trilogy umbrella, which has included Kiri last year and National Treasure back in 2016, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a small Welsh town. We're
Yeah.
initially introduced to several characters. Sarah Lancashire's character Polly, who's a hairdresser, works from her house. You've got Joanna Scanlan's character, who's sort of a typical Joanna Scanlan character.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's the morning of this charity fun run, and the town is also about to welcome this new development. During this time, the kids of all of the main characters sneak into the development and start vandalising it, graffitiing it. Sarah Lancashire and Joe Scanlan's daughter sort of drawing a butterfly. As they do this, there's an explosion, and it all comes down upon them. And the result is that all bar Sarah Lancashire's daughter Leona end up dying. Leona is paralysed, certainly at the end of this first episode, and it's sort of, where does the blame lie is the question.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say something now because I have the platform. I didn't enjoy it. There was something odd about it. It just didn't gel to me. I don't know whether it was all the different the Welsh accents that put me off, or just the familiar faces that kept popping up. I didn't feel any empathy at all towards the situation. I was watching it, and of course, again, I'm away, so I can't get the Skybox. I couldn't pause it. I had to watch all the adverts, and maybe that was another. But for some reason, I just did not enjoy it.
Yeah, I watched it with ads as well. I watched it on the 4-player, whatever it's called these days.
I didn't enjoy it at all. When I say I didn't enjoy it, I don't expect it to be a laugh riot, and it's not the sort of show to watch to enjoy.
We went in thinking I'm going to like this, and so I think that might be part
I went in thinking I should probably like this, yeah, because it's Jack Thorne's era, all the.
And I've told you before not to.
Yeah.
Not to do that.
So I have to be honest. It just didn't move me. I didn't feel any emotion, which is the whole point.
For me, I didn't feel, not sympathy, but I didn't get emotional. But I don't think that's the point. This is
maybe not.
This is human reaction to this sort of situation, which isn't always sort of. I really like this. I think Jack Thorne did a really good job of. And this goes back to the other two dramas you mentioned before as well, of how humans would react in this situation, and it isn't always, going over the top,
tears and stuff. No, I agree to that. I agree with that.
They did enough to set up the characters before the accident.
That is always a bugbear of mine, and that is here's the moody teenager that's sleeping with someone a bit older and is a bit moody and a bit, going against her parents' wishes, and she's a bit of a rebel. Next second, the accident happens and she's in peril, and I don't really. But I think more than anything else, it was just that I just felt completely disconnected from it.
I would disagree with that, and I think given the previous Jack Thorne dramas as well, they both have that element of flashback in them. We had that in Kiriam, we had that in National Treasure, where you get more context on the characters, and I feel that's what we're going to get here. This is the big setup episode. This is it, and then you get that. And obviously seen in the trailers that there's a court case in this, so I'm guessing there will be flashback, and we get glimpses. I think
Sarah Lancashire against her husband as well, who's violent and a bit of an abuser, and that scene was shocking, I'll admit.
I agree, and I can get why you're saying what you're saying, but I didn't expect straight away to have that reaction. This is the setup episode. This is where.
But when you think back to the first episodes of both Kiri and
I
National
suppose.
Treasure, I was really drawn in by both of them. The performances were amazing.
I think the performances were good here. I thought Sarah Lancashire was excellent. I didn't think there was enough of Joe Scanlan. I think maybe the issue was there was too many people in this. There was too, whereas in Kiri they focused on.
It's a condensed world in those.
And they focused on one different element of the story in each one. They focused on Sarah Lancashire in the first episode. The second episode, it was the birth family of Kiri. In the third episode, it was the Leah Williams, Stephen McIntosh family. They did it that way, whereas here, and they might do it again, because, this was primarily focused on Sarah Lancashire's family, I think you got there. So you might well get in the second episode, it's more Joe Scanlan. Because here it was very much Sarah Lancashire. You saw her at the start with the hairdressing and with throwing the daughter's boyfriend's clothes out. Then there's the bit, obviously, where her child is the only one that's saved. And in the background, there's this sort of fighting against the corporation. I've seen some people compare it to the Grenfell disaster as well. There's that.
Well, that was his inspiration. Yeah.
And I remember him actually talking about that at the Kiri screening. That he had obviously thought about doing something about Grenfell, and obviously this is the result. But I can sort of see your criticisms, but I don't think I ever go in with expectations about a drama like you do. I think that might be the difference, that I didn't go in expecting anything. I think I agree with you that this wasn't up there with those first episodes of those series, but
it's the weakest.
I at the same time didn't really compare them to that. I thought this was still a good piece of drama. I'm interested to see where it goes, and it could go. If you look back at The Virtues, which is also Jack Thorne, isn't it, and Shane Matthews, the first episode of that was completely different to what was to come. The character you enjoyed the most wasn't in that at all. And if you judge that purely on the first episode, and I know some people I did and didn't want to watch anymore, it was a completely different tone going forward. And said that about Pose as well. That the tone of the first episode is completely different. There's a lot more humour to come. So
we shall see. We shall see. And
I think in this culture where we are allowed to binge on all the episodes in a lot of things now, here when we've only got the first episode and we're having to wait a week and it's only a 4, we're making these snap judgments straight away. And I think there was enough to enjoy. I think Sarah Lancashire's performance was incredible. The sort of the coldness of the actress from Borg, and I'm interested. So I'm guessing there's probably going to be an episode around that character, maybe around the corporation a little bit more.
I'm gonna watch more, of course I am, but it felt like another one of those shows.
I think it's your hang-ups. I'm blaming this purely on you. Your feelings.
Yeah, probably. But I watched a lot of things about tragedy, and this just didn't.
Like the step story.
All right, now the Bee Gees story. And then that was we're drifting.
We're not. We're on topic.
No, we're on topic. Yeah. The Accident continues Thursday nights at 9 on Channel 4. Yeah,
it's interesting. We haven't got. I would love to see what a guest would have thought of this, depending on who we had on.
I'm sure they'd have liked it. I'm sure they would have.